Welcome to the DevReady podcast. Joining me on the DevReady podcast today, I have Louise. I don't know much about Louise's background or anything, just like anyone listening to our episode. So to those of you that are new here, I'm meeting Louise for the first time, and I'll let Louise take away and introduce herself. So thanks for joining me again, Louise.
It's great to be on the show. Louise Bedford. I am the founder of The Trading Game, and tradinggame.com.au is where I help so many of my traders develop that flexibility and freedom to be able to trade the share market. And I've also got my Talking Trading podcast. So talkingtrading.com.au. And this is going to be a simulcast both on your show, Anthony, and my show, Talking Trading.
So Louise, a little bit of background on yourself and what got you into trading and this journey all those years ago.
Yeah, look, the thing with it is I think a lot of people fall into trading. It's not like on somebody's career path where they're saying, this is exactly what I want to do when I grow up. It's just not on people's radar. So I went to a seminar and I remember the guy from stage, he said, there's three ways to make a lot of money. You need either or combination of these three: property, a business, and the stock market. And I went, oh my God, that's so simple, but it's so true. We need to really look to see where our income is coming in and what is going to suit us all the way through our life so that it can take us into old age and we can still have an income stream. So I do remember with property, he said, the thing with property is you can't sell off a room if you're in financial trouble. So I'd already been involved in a business that bit the dust back then. And I realized, hang on, if I run into financial trouble, if property's the way, he's right. I'm all trapped into the one big fat area and I won't be able to free myself up. So the share market was it for me. So at the tender age of 20, I decided I am a trader alongside my corporate career. And it was just fantastic. The first 3 years, I was absolutely miserable and decimated by the markets. And I cried so much. But then I was so excited as well. It was just a roller coaster of emotions. And somewhere around year 3, I went, I can't continue like this. I'm about to have a heart attack. So I decided to calm the heck down. And from then, it actually really helped my trading. You see, we rarely exceed our own level of business development in our mind, self-development. We rarely exceed that in our bank account. So for me to actually work on myself, work on my trading system, develop a sound trading plan, that made all the difference to my trading results. So I left my job after a couple of years after that, and I've been a full-time trader ever since.
And that's amazing that you've been able to do that and make that transition. Just out of curiosity, what was your career before jumping into the trading?
I did a couple of degrees at uni and I was in a credit information company. Before that, I had my own business in personnel, so an HR, and that was the one. I ran it with somebody who was very experienced and she was so nice to give me a shot. I put money in, and then when she said, I want to put my father's house up as collateral because the business is failing, I said, I can't do this because she actually lost her father's house. She lost her father's house. So yeah, it took me a while to actually pay out the debts from that business, but it taught me so much. Business owners have got it all over employees when it comes to trading, because trading is your own business. You have to be responsible for your own mindset, your own development, the structure that you bring to a trading system. Even though it was a dead set failure in my life, it was actually something that I think of as a pedestal that I stand on, and it helped me gather my thoughts about how to be an effective trader.
And those lessons that you go through, it's bad in the moment, but it did teach you something, and then that's been pivotal to moving forward. So those lessons are always something important that people go through, and there's different degrees of difficulty that people go through in everyone's own journey.
So true. And you know, the plus is as well, I have a lot of empathy for business owners. I have a lot of empathy for people that have been through a hard time or two, and that has actually helped me in my life as well.
Yep. And that's important because you have to understand how to work with people, how to feel with them, and get to be able to communicate with them well. It's all about communication at the end of the day.
So true.
So just on the trading side, are you sort of like what they call a day trader? I cursory know some top level information about trading. I know there's the day trading, and then you've got the longer term where you're putting in and it's time in the market, not trying to time the market, as I think Bernie Sanders says.
Yeah, look, there are a few different levels of trading in terms of time frame. I'm not a day trader. Often with day trading, what the definition is that you get into and out of a position in that particular day. It
Hmm.
can work if you're in the right time zone, as in the US. But for Australia, it's not
Yep.
working. And actually, even in the US, the stats show that day traders do not make as much money as people with a medium term trading view. So I like to have a
Okay.
life. I've got a husband and 2 kids, and I enjoy travel, and I don't want to be glued to a trading monitor
Yep.
and that take over my entire life. So I find that having that medium term view suits me the best. And it has definitely been something that I encourage my traders to do. And really, for anybody considering starting up with trading, you do need to have some sort of trading plan to guide you. A lot of people don't know what goes into a trading plan, and they get very confused because sometimes they'll think they're a medium term trader, the market will drop by a few percent, and they'll whip themselves out of that position, which converts them into a short-term trader. So if your
Okay.
people want to pick up my trading plan template, they can come to my website tradinggame.com.au, and I give that trading plan template away for free because I care that people get a solid start into the markets.
Because I think there's a lot of people that don't know much about it, and they say shares and then they just think that it's a potential risky thing because they don't understand the markets or how it works. There's not much that's taught in Australia about financial literacy, especially on the share side.
Yeah, you're so right. It was just like tumbleweeds when I started trading. It was, oh, I think I'll bump into this wall and then bump into that wall, which is not the best way at all. So to find people that actually have done what you want to do and to have that similar goal as you know, one of the goals that I think a lot of my traders would share with the people from your audience, Anthony, is that they'd like to retire early and to have income coming in still so that they don't just have to live on the pension and eke out a living from something that is pretty subpar. They want to have that
Yep.
financial serenity, something that will help them leave a legacy for their children, something that can encourage them to buy gifts for their friends and their spouse, maybe a bit of travel in there. So you have to think about the future you. What do you want to achieve? What are the things that you're going to really value in the next 5, 10, 20 years? And then work backward and find the vehicle for you to be able to scaffold in to that life. So for me, trading hit it. That was exactly what I wanted, something that provides
Mhm.
intellectual knowledge, something that I never can fully grow into. There's a ladder here, but the ladder keeps going and going up to the moon. So it is a pleasurable thing to be able to work out, how do you want to live your life? And what can you do now to achieve that? So, with the role of AI coming into play, this is something that has really helped my traders. And I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on this because I know that's your area of specialty. A lot of my traders are looking to put their trading on autopilot and automate their trading. My traders
Mhm.
have got usually a little bit of money behind them, but they don't want to spend their time only on the screen. I'd love to hear your
Yep.
thoughts about how AI can help traders and small business people automate their systems so that it can free them up, but also get them better results.
Yeah, so I know I haven't looked into it specifically, but I know there has to be some AI based software out there for trading that's come up in the last 2 years in the ChatGPT craze for sure. Probably one of the things you can do is, from my understanding with the trading, is you need to find either companies or something that you believe in will go up, and that's why you're investing in it. But there's going to be a lot of research around that initially, and that's where the AI can probably help you in, is initially in all that research you need to perform. So the deep research tools that have come around through the use of ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, where they do Google searches and research for you, present you back a report, and they can use that to start building some knowledge in a specific industry or a new vertical that you haven't got any background in. So if you are looking at, say, new technology, so if we're looking at new battery technology, you may not know the difference between a lithium ion battery or a silica carbide battery. And now that's going to be a new thing potentially in the next 5-10 years. So if you want to get in early, you need to understand that technology. There's a lot of research you'll have to do to find out, all right, what does the technology mean? What research is there? Who are the players? Who's investing in it? And then that will help guide your trading strategy. Which companies you want to invest in. So there's a lot of tools, and they can hallucinate, as people say. So you need to be extra careful on trying to make sure you're reading the right information. My best guess is you're not going to be able to ask ChatGPT, what should I invest in today to make 5 times my profit in a year's time, because it's not going to be able to gauge that information well. It's only AI, the AI that everyone is talking about as AI today is autocomplete. It's just guessing the next best word that fits that sentence that it's trying to spit out to you. The AI that the professional traders are using, that there is sub-millisecond trades that are being executed, that is a traditional machine learning, data-driven algorithm that is made for these very, very fast trades that you'll never compete with. You don't have the funds and the data centers and the ability to compete with those at that scale. But your long-term strategic decisions on who to invest in and where you think the markets will go, the AI can definitely help in a lot of that research and that cursory information to help you build that knowledge base.
Yeah.
As well as, I'm guessing, teach you the basics of trading if you don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's true. One of the things that I think is quite interesting is emphasizing that research part with AI is great, but asking it for specific advice will not be great at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, there's
And it'll be cautious in trying to give you any financial advice. It'll tell you that it can't do that as well.
yeah, which is good. This is one of the things that we need to be aware of. What are the limitations? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So how have you seen the AI impact trading over the years? Because I know there is, like I mentioned, those large players in Wall Street that do that automatic trading, and it's quants are coming in and it's very, very fast, effective trading that you can't keep up with.
Yeah.
But how have you seen the affect the daily trader or the average trader, not the daily trader, I'll say?
Yeah. Look, some of the aspects that you bring about here, it is quite interesting. I'm going to actually just look up one of the bits of data that I've got on my computer here, and
Mhm.
I'm going to give you some ideas on that. The thing is with AI is it doesn't do a very good job when you're trying to ask it for advice about legal, health, or financial advice. Now,
Yeah.
here's the results. Okay. There's a recent study, October 2024, nearly half, 47% of the people have tried using AI chatbots for advice about investing. Now, how has that gone? The researchers put ChatGPT to the test. They asked it 100 financially related questions, and the result 35% of the answers were either wrong, misleading, or outright fabricated. Now, some of the
Yeah.
questions they asked, to give you an example, is how do I prepare for my child's education? What is the average pension compared to the average salary? And what are the pros and cons of investing in precious metals? Now, 29% were labelled as incomplete or misleading, and 6% were completely incorrect. So we have to be very careful about where we're heading here. Asking a machine that doesn't know your personal circumstances for advice about your personal circumstances can take you right off course. The way that I've seen
Completely.
AI really help traders is the analysis of their data. So once they've done a lot of trades, to put that data into ChatGPT and to ask a broad question, such as, what are the things that I'm consistently doing incorrectly? Where are the areas
Yep.
that you suggest I could improve? Act as a financial mentor. What would your advice be to me? Now, that type of analysis is fantastic because you've put blinkers on the AI machine. You've said that I want help in this specific area, and you've given it personal data based on your own results to guide it. Now, that analysis is superior to almost any other form of analysis that you can do. And I'll tell you why. It's because you cannot see your own blind spots. You need something or someone to come from outside the jar to help you read the label. You cannot read the label from the inside of the jar. So, this is the way that we can use this type of technology. I think it does a good job of doing a very beigeification, the word is, isn't it? That beigeification where it just makes everything flat and standard like everybody else's. But you know what it does really well is it finds flaws if you ask for areas that you need to improve it. So I would be using it first and foremost for the more experienced trader in that direction. Asking it for trades to put on, asking it for general broad advice, it's not going to tick your box there. The other
Yeah.
thing that I feel that it has really helped so many of my traders with is it can be a bit of a technical field, Anthony. I know you're comfortable with it, but not everybody's got your background. Not everybody's got
Yep.
like a software engineering, development of business type of background. So for the mere mortal out there, we can struggle to work out what some of these algorithms are. Now, by an algorithm, what I mean is I actually design for the machine to do the work for me, a statement that says, I'm looking for this and that and this, bring out the shares that have those qualities. Now, some of those algorithms can be mightily hard to understand. They are confusing
I
as
can
heck.
imagine.
They have a particular language. Now, luckily, because of ChatGPT, you can put that algorithm into ChatGPT and it will tell you in layperson's terms what that search means. It pretty much sucks for creating a search because it's going to Bayesify everything so that it's going to just give you something that everybody else is using. You want to bring a little bit of your own edge to this process. So if you can get something that you feel provides an edge, and you can ask it to write the code for you on that because you've guided it, or you can ask it to interpret an algorithm because you want to know what does that do and what does that mean. That is an exceptional use of AI. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's probably the key because it is made for data crunching.
Yes.
It's got great ability to do analysis on data if you provide it to it. Calculations, it's going to struggle with, but algorithms are not calculations. They're step-by-step logical processes. And if you can give it research that it's done for you in another session with your trading history and then ask it and provide those algorithms, then yeah, it'll give you a good overview on it that's with a lot more technical background and experience that you would have because it has anything that's available publicly on the internet. So it knows about all the different trading strategies and how to read candle charts and do all of that, even if you don't know anything about them.
And it does struggle in some areas as well. And we have to know that there are weaknesses within this type of technology. For example, one of the things, and I know for your people listening, Anthony, this may be a little confusing, but for my people, they'll get it. With a layer of resistance, often what we're looking to do is to find where price falters. It hits its head on a little ceiling, it's having trouble breaking through, and when it does bust through, that's an ideal time to enter. So that's called a breakout trade, and it's one of the key things that I teach people in my mentor program, how to recognize it, how to code for it, how to put your method on autopilot so that you don't have to always be in front of the screen, and the computer can actually trigger that off, bring it forward for you. So you either put on your trade or it does it for you. So it really is automatic. You can go and live your life, and that thing has just done exactly what you wanted it to do, but without your involvement. However, I have noticed that these AI tools really suck at trying to locate that level of resistance. So you must
Yeah.
know
Okay.
the limitations of the technology that you're using so that you don't get bluffed into the comforting words that ChatGPT offers. You know, it's interesting to me, Anthony, and I love your thoughts because I've been using ChatGPT. It started to talk like me. It tells me the things I want to hear. I actually
Yep.
said, suck up to me, right? To hear what it would say. And I said,
Yep.
Louise, you're the best selling author of 6 books on the stock market. People hang off your every word. Your mentorees just adore you. They come to you with all of their difficulties and you solve them. It sucked up to me, good and proper. You don't want that all the time. You actually want
No.
something to pick on you, to give you objective advice, to tell you these are the areas you need to focus on. You need an unreasonable friend, somebody who is caring, but also can see your flaws and can phrase it in a way that makes you want to live up to their expectations. So we must remember that AI is a machine feeding back to
It's just
us
software.
in an agreeable way the things we want to hear. Now, that
Yeah.
as a trader can be lethal because we do
Yeah.
need somebody, hopefully ourselves as well, to be that unreasonable friend.
Yeah, and ChatGPT is trained and it's been directed to solve your query. That's why it makes up information, because if it doesn't know it, it'll make it up. So that's embedded in its program. But you can tell it to be the devil's advocate or be harsh or be a critic on everything I say. The reason it starts talking like you is because it has memory. So you can turn that off and then it won't remember anything about you. But then I think you lose a bit of ability to have a common thread or a common theme being brought back into discussions, which will be useful, especially if you're in like the trading space. I think one of the other things everyone needs to remember is ChatGPT doesn't access real-time data. So if you're looking at trading and trying to understand things, I think ChatGPT 4 was, I think it was either October 2024 or January 2025 was the last set of like training data that it used. So if you're trying to figure out what should I trade on now, it's already 4, 5, 6, 8 months out of date. So it's not going to be useful. Yeah, that's why I think they struggle to find the resistance or when you do your buy points or your sell points, because it's doing it based on historical data, but then it's taking it based on, statistically speaking, what, when I'm answering this question, what is the most likeliest thing to say, not based on an analysis. That's what people have to remember. There's no analysis there when you're asking those sort of questions.
The other thing, even if you put a chart of the trade into one of these AI platforms, that it still struggles. So even on the basis of a new chart, it is
Hmm.
going to really have trouble. Actually, I've
Yeah.
got something else that I'd love to hear your thoughts on. I was very excited. A friend of mine from the UK, I trust him so much, and he came up with this beautiful spoken AI where you could talk to it and it would talk back. Oh my gosh, I was so fascinated. He said that this is going to be a way that my traders can actually have a counseling situation. And I started into
Okay.
this,
Yep.
right? And I got down deep, Anthony. Wow. So this thing, oh, at one stage, because it asked such clever questions, I didn't even know that I had an issue about my daughter with her driving lessons, that once she finished driving lessons with me, that I felt she might go
Mhm.
away into the ether and I might not be as close with her. It had me in
Okay.
tears in like 5 minutes, okay? This thing was amazing.
Well,
So I did some tests, and of course, as a trader, we think worst case scenario. We don't just think best case scenario. We definitely try to consider what would happen if the sky fell down. Now, I
hmm.
did test it, and here's what happened, okay? I thought, what happens with mental illness? If I asked it, I've got some problems, I've just been diagnosed with schizophrenia. However, I don't think the medication that they're giving me is going to suit me. And by the way, I'm God and I'm taking over the world. In the one session, it would appropriately counsel me and say, well, maybe you should take your medication and perhaps this could be a symptom of your mental illness. However, if I gradually said, I think there might be something wrong, then close it off, then open it up. I think I should see my GP, close it off, open it up. They've suggested a psychiatrist, close it off, open it up, and gradually deplete into mental illness. It basically agreed with me and said, yes, you are God. You should take over the world. So we do have to be careful about the feedback that these things provide for
Yeah.
us. I mean, clearly for mental health, a lot of people have used AI as a counseling tool, but we must remember that even though it can provide cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, on minor issues, if we escalate into more significant issues, we cannot trust that this is going to give us advice that is going to suit us holistically.
Definitely not. And that's just not just health advice. It's anything you ask it to do. If you ask it to write a blog post, it's not going to give you a blog post that is going to be suited exactly as you need. You can't take what it says verbatim and use it. And it's, once again, it's just autocomplete. It's text prediction. It's not an analysis. It's a generalized system. So specifically for trading, you need a specialized AI trading chatbot that can execute and process data extremely fast because of the way the market moves. So if you're a day trader, that's going to be more important than if you're short or medium term trading. But you can't just assume it has the answers to everything and it knows how to talk to you, because there are other case studies where they've in those specific cases where the AI told the patient not to take medication. It says no, you don't need it at all. So there's a lot of things you need to worry about, and you have to understand how these systems work and what their flaws are, and assume like you're using it defensively almost.
And the other study that I'd love your thoughts on is that because we are now, for some of us, quite reliant on AI, we seem to be outsourcing that part of our brain that actually thinks. So, one of the
Yep.
theories is that because the initial planning stage with any project, be it for a trader or a business owner, requires a lot of our prefrontal cortex, which is the parental control. That is the thing that thinks deeply about implications. It's also our inhibitions. That's the thing that says, don't go on the date with that guy because he couldn't have your best interests at heart, say, and you could end up pregnant. So that's the prefrontal cortex guiding our behavior in a parental way, looking out for obstacles, looking out for things that could hurt us. So, one of the things with AI, and it is speculated that if you start by getting it to plan out the process for you, whatever process you're looking at, you're relying less on your prefrontal cortex, which has an impact for you as you move into old age, because that's the major part that shrinks as we get older. That's the
Okay.
key when it comes to Alzheimer's, that perhaps we need to actually use our prefrontal cortex to have a skerrick of it left by the time we turn 90. So, the suggestion is that we don't use AI for planning a project. We use AI to polish a project. Your thoughts?
Okay. I didn't know that prefrontal cortex was a precursor for the Alzheimer's onset if it is diminished. But I do agree with the ability to, you're using less of your analytical mind when you're using the models generally, because people are getting it to do the work for them. And a lot of people are not assessing and reviewing what's coming back as an answer. I use it to plan, but then I'll take that plan, work with it, refine it, and then go back and forth until I've got something that I understand. So I'm using it as an assistant, not to replace me, if that makes sense. Everything that comes back is reviewed.
I definitely would challenge you to do that initial plan first as best
Hmm.
practice and then bring in your AI, because I do think
Yeah.
this is something that we do need to consider. If it's starting with a blank slate and you're handing over that control, perhaps it's actually going to lead you into a different direction. Whereas if you
Yeah.
can provide a basis for it, I think that can really help too.
I don't necessarily give it a blank slate and say, just do something for me. There is 10, 20 bullet points that I've already thought
Yeah.
about for days or weeks or hours before. And I've said, all right, this is what I'm trying to do, blah, 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 blah. Give me a now 10, 15 page plan that's expanded on every point, and then I'll go through and see, does that align with my knowledge? Does that align with what I think? All right, it's set to do something. Let's go and research that. Does that actually make sense? So I'm still doing a lot of the offline research and searching, but I use the research tools in, say, ChatGPT, the deep research specifically, to go and do the 50 Google searches that I would have taken me 3-4 hours. Then I'll review the report. Because I have a lot of cursory information, I can assess what's coming back is right or wrong.
I love that. I think you are using it with best practice. That
I
to
think so.
me sounds like exactly what this article was suggesting.
Yep. It is difficult because it does so much so quickly
Yeah,
that you can get swept away with it. That's the problem.
crazy, isn't it? I know.
Yeah. So going back sort of onto the trading side, you mentioned just for people that are unaware, what would you consider sort of a short-term and medium-term strategy on trading? Because a lot of people would, I'm assuming, think they need to sit there and monitor the trades and the stocks and their values all day and watching charts. But that's not going to be the case if you're doing medium term.
Correct. The more you watch, the more likely you're going to freak yourself out and get out of an actual trade that was going in the right direction. So, the way that I like to do it is I like to think of a trading plan having three components. Your entry, so what is the specific set of circumstances that would require for you to buy? Your exit,
Hmm.
so how you'll get out and when you'll get out, and also your position sizing. So, how much do you put into each trade? Now, those are the three core concepts in my trading plan review. And that is going to take you so much further than the general throw a dart at a dartboard, hope and pray. So, when
Yeah.
I'm looking in terms of how long a trade should go for, short term would be, say, a few hours up to a few days. Medium
Hmm.
term is weeks. Okay, so you're thinking a few weeks up to, say, a year. And then longer term is maybe 2, 3 years and beyond. So sometimes when I'm trading, I don't really know how long I'll be in the trade for. I just stay until it reverses. And once it hits
Yeah.
my stop loss, the machine at the broker's platform just takes me out of that trade.
Yep.
So I don't actually even have to be there looking at it. The platform actually just takes me out of that position. And that's why I think it's something that a lot of people who are looking to retire or run something alongside their business or their job do really well with this, because they do their analysis on the weekend. They work out which shares to enter. You can set automatic contingent orders, they're called, to get you in when the share price
Hmm.
gets to this price. And you can set orders to get you out when the share price drops to this price. And of
Yep.
course, you're running it because you're the brains behind it. So you need to have the knowledge. And as I tell my mentorees as well, you are in the driver's seat because you're the one having to work out when to enter, when to exit, and how much to put in. So it is
Yep.
very similar to the business mindset that your people, Anthony, have already. Your people are so used to having multiple plates spinning. They're having to think about staffing, about future direction, about advertising, about position, price, place. They're having to already consolidate a lot of those skill sets into their own business. This is applying that plate spinning idea in an automatic way to a different vehicle
Yep.
alongside what you're already doing. I never suggest people give up their job or their career too early. I think people make a grave injustice to their entire life by scrapping a line of income just because they have another line of income. Do both. Have both on the boil. It is
If you can, why
amazing
not?
what extra money coming into your household does for your mindset. It frees you up in so many ways. You can say no to strategies that you don't want to pursue because you know you have money coming in from somewhere else. You can say
Hmm.
yes to things that seem tricky and hard to handle because you know that your needs are satisfied because you've got income coming in from another source. It's a beautiful
Yep.
freeing process.
So yeah, it's not, you don't plan to be in the market for a certain amount of time. You either have a stop loss, so you say this is how much I want to lose out of the principal that I've put in,
Yes.
or you have an exit point, which is this is how much I plan to make as a return on that money, 3, 4, 5, whatever it may be.
I actually don't do that. I know some people do, their profit targets. The thing is, people really are not good estimators about how far the price will go. So I
Hmm.
wait for that trend to reverse before I exit. And that's why some of my trades I've been in for
Okay, so as soon as it reverses, you're done.
Yeah, I've been in for 2 or 3 years because they just keep on going. I mean, if it had have been up to me, I would have guessed it would have just doubled in money and then just, away I would have gone. But this thing's gone up,
Yeah.
sometimes 600%. So who am I to tell when it should stop? I don't know. I'm just a human. So let the market tell you. Let the market
Mhm.
signals give you that specific time that, okay, the market has said this is not going up anymore, therefore I will exit. A much more
Yeah.
pure way to trade.
And would you have sort of a different strategy then if you're approaching an index where you're just trying to get the dividends that come from it, or a dividend producing share rather than just trying to flip the shares?
Oh, you've just touched on one of my favorite topics in the whole world. Now, I love share trading, don't get me wrong, and you'll never hear me speaking ill about it. However, now with index trading, we have got so many more opportunities as traders and as people trading alongside our usual career or job. Index trading has provided so many opportunities through ETFs, which is exchange traded funds. Now, I've got a
Hmm.
fantastic ETF strategy, and what it does is it allows you to invest in the one instrument, but that one instrument has a spread into, say, 100 different companies. So you have instant diversification. And there is an upward bias with these types of indexes that I can tell people how to trade. Because what happens is you've got all of the hedge fund managers and all of the superannuation managers that are mandated to have a particular number of those shares in their portfolio. So you're taking advantage of the fact that there's already a heck of a lot of industry involvement in these types of shares, but you're
Yep.
getting a spread of them through the one position. So it is just a match made in heaven for people who want fantastic returns, don't enjoy big pullbacks, they call them drawdowns, and that want to have that diversification so that they can have that spread and the security that that brings them. So I'm a big fan of looking further afield than just buying straight shares.
Yep. And that's definitely going to be easier because they've done a lot of the research for you.
Yeah,
The market's covered.
it is, and it is so fascinating to see as well because, there's this thing called market capitalization, and it's you might know that CBA is like this huge share, the Commonwealth Bank is massive, it's growing.
Yeah. Biggest bank in the world, apparently. Most profitable bank in the world.
Exactly, everybody's going nuts over this thing, right? So that's like got a huge market capitalization. And so if you hear of the top 200, that's the top 200 shares by market capitalization. And then
Yep.
say if you've got number 201, okay, imagine something drops out of the top 200. Number 201 has a little celebration because they get pushed into that index. So it
Hmm.
pushes strength into the market because of this rejigging, this remarket
Yep.
capitalization evaluation. That's why indices have that upward bias. Yes, they can fall, but often when there's a drop, it's an opportunity.
Yeah, and they're getting the benefit of always, the like natural selection, the best are rising to the top.
Yeah, I love it. So that's one of my favorite things.
Is that aligned to just having sort of a dividend strategy where you're just trying to, that's how you're making the money or the revenue or profit from the shares is having those dividends either reinvested or then that's the income that you can take?
So here's something controversial. I actually don't agree with people investing just for dividends, because you will
Okay.
never make as much through dividends as you will through the
Mhm.
share trend. If you've got a trending little
Yep,
rocket there, it's going to make you much more money out of the capital
of course.
gain on that position than you will out of the
Hmm.
dividends. So
Yep,
I
makes
always
sense.
encourage everybody to use a DRP, a dividend reinvestment plan. Grab the dividends for sure, but reinvest them.
Yeah, so use them to either, are you reinvesting them into the ETFs or are you putting them into shares? What is a preferred strategy there?
Reinvest them back into the same base that you were investing in. So let's say you've got Commonwealth Bank, you've got a DRP involved, reinvest back into Commonwealth Bank when they give you a dividend. That outperforms any straight base capitalization model that you can use for your own trading. So always tick that box. Always, when the shares registry sends out the paperwork to say that you own this share, and you can do it with ETFs as well, make sure you tick that box to say, yes, you are going to use a dividend reinvestment plan. And I can show you on charts that it outperforms if you were just investing in those bases themselves. So
Yep.
it literally looks like, here's, for example, the S&P 500, which is the top 500 US shares. But if you had been using dividend reinvestment plans, here is the chart for the dividend reinvestment plan.
Because then, the compounding interest comes in because you're reinvesting, you're getting more shares, and then they're filtering out the lower performing element actors in that and bringing in the better one. So it's always going to be increasing.
I find that just so exciting whenever there is a way to kind of game your life, right? I always look for, how do you turn this into a game? How can you make this more enjoyable, even better? And one of the games that I play is, how can I get the most return for the least work? So that is one of the ways to get the most return for the least work. That dividend reinvestment plan, and using the fact that indices have an upward bias. I mean, what a magic combination. Do both. And the strategies that I show my mentorees, they have literally lined these mentorees' pockets because they are following something that's systematic and based on logic, and using their knowledge about trend in order to excel. And I just get excited about it. I just find it to be, even after so many years in the markets, Anthony, I damn well love it.
And it's good. And that's what the passion that you have, and then this keeps you coming through, and you can definitely see that happening. So that's exactly what you need to happen in the market. So if anyone was to jump into trading, where's somewhere they can start before we wrap up, just so they've got a direction, reach out to yourself, or what's something they can start doing themselves?
Well, definitely send me an email. I answer every email personally, but even better is pick up my 5-part video series from tradinggame.com.au. What you do is you just register on the website. I give you my trading plan template, and I also give you for free, no charge, because I want you to get the firm start that you deserve, my Trading Made Simple course. Now, that will come to you over email. You'll see me over video explaining these concepts so that you can actually take them and grasp them and use them in your own trading immediately. That is the place to start. And of course, the Trading Made Simple course is available through tradinggame.com.au. And Anthony, what about for my people? Because I know I've got 1/3 of my listeners who own their own business. Give us a bit of a lowdown about why they should come to you and what their next step should be.
So it depends where they are in business. We've got a fair few clients currently running. They're really split into sort of two pairs. We've what we call rescue projects, where people have gone out, found a team, they've jumped in too early before they've planned and had that plan put in place, gone in, built the wrong product, and they're stuck. So that's what we call rescue projects. They come to us. We've got 100% money back guarantee on our DevReady process. It's called DevReady because we get you development ready. So we take our time to plan and understand your business, what you're trying to achieve, and the value you're providing to your users, and give you a plan to actually be able to deliver that. Take that project on board. We'll review it, assess whether it's something we can actually work with, or sometimes you need to scrap it, which is always a painful conversation to have because you don't want to have to share that message, but sometimes you need to have a stop loss and cut your losses there. And then the other sort of clients that we also work with are they've got legacy products. So someone's built software 5, 10, 15 years ago. It's been operating in the business. It's never been updated, or the team that built it is no longer around. The business that developed it is out of business. And they're looking at, all right, how do we add AI into our processes? We've got a lot of copy and paste, or a lot of workarounds that we've got this software, but we still have a lot of pen and paper. We're doing a lot of Excel, or there's a lot of, if Shelley in accounting is sick for the day, the whole business stops because she's the only one who knows how to use the software as well as the 3 other processes. So this is time where there's a lot of improvements coming with AI, and you can get a lot of benefit by adding AI into these products. but you need to refresh your tech and bring it up to date so you can then get these benefits. And you can start bringing in all of the changes that you wish you could build into your software that you don't currently have. So that's things that we can work on. As I mentioned, it's 100% money back guarantee on the DevReady process. If you don't have any value in it, no one's taken us up on that offer in 10 years. We've also got a lot of clients and testimonials that we can share. And then we even have a late project delivery fee back to clients. If we deliver up past the deadline that we specify, we pay you back a fee, like a house builder that misses a deadline. So we're happy to talk to anyone and jump on board and bring them up to think. We love to help and we love tech.
That's awesome. I really wish I had have known you a lot earlier. I think it would have saved me many, many issues with my own business way back when.
Thanks, Louise. It's been a pleasure having you on the DevReady podcast, and thanks for your time today.